Hey there, everybody. Today we are going to learn how to use the prospectus template. Okay, I'm going to do a couple things first. One is to get myself into back to my home page here. Go into student view here. Then I'm going to switch over to briefly the page for our course, so you know where to find the prospectus template. So that's what we're going to first do. So find the Chrome tab I want here, and let's go. We're there. All right, now all you have to do is go to course resources, and literally the first link that'll come up will be the prospectus template. All you have to do is download it. It's a Word document. Okay, so that is the first thing to realize. So you can just save it. I would save it, under a name that you'll remember and find meaningful. You can call it, your name and prospectus template, or just prospectus template, or whatever works for you. Just make sure that it's something that makes sense. And this is intended to be a Word document. If you need to convert it into another format, then just do that, whatever it is that you have to do. But that's how it's basically set up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the tab because you basically now know where to go. Now next, I'm going to share again. This time I'm going to share an application. And I'm going to find the prospectus template. I'm going to share that. And if I've done this correctly, right now what you're seeing is the prospectus template as I'm seeing it, which is good. Now what you'll notice is that there's the header. You'll have to change that and put in 3 words that fit your title. Okay, so that's one thing. And then you'll have to change the title to fit your particular topic. You'll need to change your name. So put your name here where it says Justice L. Anderson. Leave my name in. Do not remove that. Right now we are still Department of Behavioral Sciences. However, that may change in the near future. Long story behind that, won't get into it. Author note, leave that intact. The only thing you'll need to do is you'll need to create your own ORCID account. Okay, and that's very easy to do. Once you click the link, it'll send you to the website and you'll be all set. Okay, leave my name and my ORCID information. Leave the fact that we will have no known conflicts of interest to disclose, because we will not have conflicts of interest to disclose. And corresponding information, largely the only things you'll need to change will be, again, name and email address. Okay, so you'll want to modify those. The rubrics for scoring the prospectus, just leave it alone. Okay, don't touch it. But it's very helpful because it gives you an idea of the elements that I'm looking at and how I'm going to be scoring things. Keywords. Again, one of the things you'll notice is a lot of blue typeface. Those are meant as instructions to help you. These are basically the words that you would use to search and retrieve articles if you're on a database. Okay, so these are basically search terms. And again, come up with keywords that are appropriate for your particular topic. Many of these will probably come to you as you're actually searching for literature. And we'll get into how to do a literature search, how to do literature searches and things like that later. Table of contents. Just go ahead and eventually you'll need to populate that with page numbers for everything, but initially I'd say leave it alone until you've got a finalized prospectus. List of figures. Again, this is something, follow the instructions. You probably won't have figures, and if you don't, that's fine. It's good. Introduction. We put a lot of effort into giving you instructions for how to do the introduction. And one of the things to keep in mind is that it is really meant to lay out exactly what the purpose of your study is. Again, follow everything. What is the problem you wish to investigate? Why is it a problem? What is currently being done to address this particular problem? What needs to be done? Those sorts of things. Should be about no more than a page and a half, double spaced, with the 1-inch margins that we already provide for you. Okay, so just kind of go along those lines. And again, you can always remove the blue typeface instructions once you've completed everything. Make sure that anything you type is actually in black typeface, not blue typeface. Okay. Well, and then of course we get to the lit review. Something else I'm going to have you do in a little bit will actually help you populate the lit review. But again, follow the instructions. And if you run into problems, give me a shout, but this ought to be fairly straightforward. Rationale, again, you see it. And it's simply there to, again, tie everything to the lit review, what your basic, what the main findings seem to be, and really to focus on the unique significance of your particular prospectus. Okay. You will also need to include hypotheses, and we gave you some examples for what these would look like. Operational definitions. Again, take a look at those. I'm pretty loose about this. I think age, gender, and ethnicity are important. Notice that we need to make sure that we keep things with gender in particular. We need to be non-binary here, so it's not just male, female. It can be. I would probably recommend including a space for, other, and have the participants specify. Okay, that's another way of doing it. Or you can do cis male, cis female, transgender, non-binary, transgender male, transgender female. Any of those would be perfectly appropriate. Okay, ethnicity. Really take a look at the publication manual, page 142. That'll tell you practically everything you need to know about how to break that down. And we give you some examples of some other things that you might use that you don't have to use. All right. Main variables, these are going to be your variables that you are measuring. And again, define them only as you're measuring. You can think of it as being the same, very similar to how we're dealing with demographic variables. I can give you a wonderful theoretical conceptualization of age, but just simply saying, hey, we're just measuring it as a number of chronological years since birth. So, there'll be a space somewhere for a person to say that they're 22 or whatever. Gender, again, we could go into a concept of what gender is, okay, and talk about how it's this wonderful social construct. But here we're just simply saying this is how we're measuring it. Okay, so that's really all operational definitions are, and be very careful about that. Methods, talk about, again, just look through this right now. I'll probably go into some nitty-gritty a little bit later, but really if you just follow the instructions that we include here, you should be able to write a really good overview of your research design. You should be able to give a really good overview of your participants, the instruments that you're using, and the procedures that you're using. Okay, again, follow these to the letter, and you should be fine. References, we give you examples of what references should look like. Okay, follow that, you'll be fine. And again, figures if you need them. Then you'll see the appendices. We try to set things up. We've got procedures done two ways. Most of you, in fact, probably nearly all of you, will be doing something that's cross-sectional. So this top list is probably what you'll need to fill in. If you're not doing a longitudinal study, just delete that particular part and you'll be fine. But otherwise, make sure you fill in the blanks as best you can. You'll need to you'll maybe putting in some modified version of the title of your study, and then fill in some blank as to what the actual purpose of the study is, what it is you're trying to do. If this is something where you need to use some deception to get the truth, that's fine, concoct something, but realize in debriefing you're going to have to deal with the fact that you used deception, and we'll probably need to go through IRB. Okay, but again, fill in all blanks as well as you can. I would say right to withdraw. I would probably fill in that blank here with UAFS. That would be good enough. Contact information. You actually have all my contact information, so you should be able to fill these blanks pretty quickly. And if you can't figure out how to fill those, seriously, I'd be concerned. The coordinator of the IRB is actually a person named Lisa Norris. So kind of keep that in mind as well. Okay, so look through all this and go through it. Then you can see Appendix B. This is just an example of how you could set up a demographic questionnaire, how you might set up other questionnaires, and so on. Your mileage may be different. There's also a key code which tells you how things are going to be scored. And if this particular part of the key code doesn't help you, this particular page, just delete that information and don't worry about it. The debriefing form, again, fill in whatever blanks you need to fill in and you should be fine. Don't worry about Appendix C. We will not be messing with it. We won't have the luxury of time, and we're not in the computer lab with SPSS. So anyway, that is the prospectus. If you just work on it, keep it as a document, keep it as a whole document. Don't do some of the oddball things that I've seen, where I've seen people create blank documents and then give me little bits and pieces. You'll get yourself lost and confused in a hurry, and you'll get me lost and confused. And that's never fun for anybody. Okay, so please do not do that. But again, really pay attention to all the wonderful information we've tried to give you here, so that you know, all the instructions, everything else, so that you are set and that you have nothing to worry about. Really, I mean it. If you follow the instructions that are on that prospectus template, it is very, very, very hard to go wrong. Okay, so again, things I tried to do, give you one, show you where to find the prospectus template. I gave you some instructions about downloading it and naming it. Make sure it's somewhere where you can always find it. I gave you a little bit of a tour of the prospectus template, showed you some things that you're going to want to change probably very immediately. Okay, so that is the name of that tune. And on that note, I'll go ahead and end this particular video, and I will be back later with some instructions for how to fill out the article review forms. Okay, and also where to find those. Alrighty, until next time, take care.